Hi Axel Beat, hi Viola, hi Tang Ding. Really? Are you struggling with any task 1 question? Very good. Good luck. Okay, let's go ahead and write the first one from test. So okay, as usual, we have the introduction, overview, and body paragraphs. Let's paraphrase the question first. So the bar graphs illustrate the proportion of food. Again, for food, you can paraphrase into sustenance and other goods, so products that were purchased in supermarkets. Across 3 different nations in Europe. Right? Oh, and the years. Okay, so for the overview, this is a dynamic chart, so always talk about the trend. So let's see about the food first. So in country one, the food increased, country two increased, country three increased. And for other goods, it also increased in all of the three countries. So both food and other goods increase in all three countries. Okay, so second of all, let's see if we can compare something here. So I see that in 1998, country 2 is the highest in both food and goods. Okay. And for 2008, it was country 1 that is the highest in both food and highest in goods. So for good, country 1 highest in 2008. Okay, so for this question, I'm going to divide into two paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is for food and paragraph 2 is for goods. Okay. And then for each body paragraph, I'm going to report the data for each country from the highest to lowest. So country 1, country 2, and country 3. It's pretty straightforward. Now let's write this overview into words first. Both food and other goods increased in all countries. So the rate of both categories increased in all three countries for the 2 years. And then country 2 got the highest percentage. Both types of food, of products in 1998, while it was country 1 in 2008. This is country 2. And this is for body 1. Okay, regarding food. Let's talk about country 1 first. So supermarkets in country 1 supplied approximately 1/10 paraphrase the percentage from time to time. And then it surged to nearly 35% by 2008, which is the highest increase. We can see here that it increased the highest. because we can see that every country in this category increased, this one increase. So we can't make any comparison regarding to contrasting the categories. We can't say the country one increased while country two decreased. That would be a comparison, a good comparison. But in this scenario, every country increased. So we have to make comparison regarding the extent of the increase. So for the first one, for the first country one, we have the most significant increase. And then we can say that country two and country three also increased, but in a lesser extent or slower. Okay, so similarly, but to a lesser extent, figure for country two rose moderately from 23% to 28%. Okay, so about country three, it shows the slowest one increase. So country three showed the slowest growth from around 7% to about 9% from 1991 to 2000. And then for other goods, ranked second at nearly 5%. Country one recorded the most dramatic change, right? Rocketing to slightly over 1/3 in the final year. The figure for country two in both years are kind of equal. So let's report it in another way. Let's say the 2 years were fairly equal, and then the later year is higher by 1% or something like that. So let's write country two purchased about 22% products in supermarket each year, right? And then the later one, which is the later year, documenting only around a 1% increase. And then for country three, okay, we can see that the extent of the increase is really high compared to country two. But for both the 2 years, it was always the lowest. So let's put it in. Although country three saw a relatively rapid growth, its figures were consistently the lowest in both 1998 and 2008 at roughly 2 and 14. That's it. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's use this question from this man. What do you mean the last place? Okay, so we have intro, overview, then body. Now, let's paraphrase the question first. So the first thing you can paraphrase is to include the type of the chart. So here they only tell you that this is a graph. You can say that this is a line chart, right? So the line chart compares the rate of travelers who utilize different or various transportation means to commute within a specific country from 1989 to 2009. Okay. Now for the overview, for this is a dynamic chart, so the first thing you need to write about is the trend of every category. Okay, so for cars increase, right? Rail increase, air increase, coach increase, and ferry decrease. So everything increased except for ferry. So all increase, right? And ferry decrease. For the next one, you can say something like the car here. Car is the highest for the majority of the period, right? Is highest for this period and only be surpassed by rail in the last year of the period. So you can write something like cars was the highest for the majority of the period. But for the overview, I don't like to write something that not true for the entire period. If the cars was highest for the entire period like this, I'm gonna write about it, but it's not for the entire period. So I don't like include that thing in my overview. What I'm trying to say is I may say that ferry was the lowest for the entire period and rail was the one that increased the most significantly. Is it the most? Let's compare it to coach. I think coach increased significantly too. So this is from 10 to about 25, which is a 15% increase. And this one from 35 to nearly 60, which is 25 increase. Yeah, so it's this. So rail is the most significant increase. And you can write about ferry. That's the thing. That's it. Okay, so how many body paragraphs do we need for this one? For a dynamic chart, you can separate the data by the trend, which is body 1 for the increasing trend and body 2 for the decreasing trend. But for this graph, 4 is increasing and only 1 decrease. So if we categorize the body paragraphs by trend, the body paragraph 1 will be very long and the second one will be very short. So I don't think this is a good option for us for this question. I'm just gonna put the three that started the highest into body 1 and then these two into body 2. Okay, so body 1 and body 2. Body 1 is for the categories that started the highest, and then body 2 is for the rest. Okay, so let's write the overview first. Overall, most category witnessed oh yeah, I misread the question here. The decreasing one is for air. Sorry guys. So this is air, not ferry. Thank you. Most category witnessed an increase except for air. And then this one additionally, railways documented the most dramatic rise, and then ferry okay. Over the surveyed period. Now for the first one, let's talk about the highest to lowest, so car first. Now for car, for every category you must include the starting point and the ending point, and then you choose the most important feature in between. which is this one, which is a peak. So cars was about 48%. 48%. Oh yeah, it was a mistake. This is a typo. I always do that. Thank you very much. 40% of holiday makers chose automobiles to travel in this nation in 1989, which then increased moderately to reach a peak of approximately 62% in 1999. Prior to a sudden drop to just over 15 or half at the end. Now the next one is air. Let's talk about rail and air together. The figures for now the figure for aircraft or air vehicle in general and rail began at nearly 40% and roughly 35 or 36% respectively. After that, subsequently, the former decreased constantly over the years to slightly over 20%, whereas the latter grows remarkably. Unless you search to nearly 60%. in 2009. That's our first body paragraphs. Okay, so for body 2, coach and ferry. Coaches recorded a gradual increase from nearly 10% to around 25 from 1989 to 2008. Finally, ferries. I think we can say that rail overtake car to be the highest one here. That would be a very good comparison. Where's rail? Here. Surpassing cars to become the highest figure. Okay, and then ferries were exhibited a similar increase from about 5% in 1989 to approximately 12% by 2004, before receding to under 10% in the end. That's it. Okay, let's move to the next question from Thang Ven. Where's the graph? Let's see the graph. Is it here? We have intro or review and then body paragraphs. Okay, let's paraphrase the question first. The graph below shows the average monthly change in the prices of three metals during 2014. The line chart illustrates January. The price changing rate of three kinds of metal from January to December of 2014. We can specify that this is each month. Okay, so you firstly need to understand the data here. This is the percentage change. Okay, so let's say for this point, 3%, which means that in February, the price of this metal increased by 3%. Okay, or for this one, -3. So in June, the price of this metal decreased by 3%. Firstly, you need to understand the data first before you can write the report. So the overview, always the trend. So copper two and then ending at less than 2, so it decreased, right? Copper decreased. Nickel, very clearly that it decreased. And then zinc, 1 to 2. This one is 1, this one is 2, so it increased. Anything else? Nothing really stands out here. I guess I'm just gonna say that nickel decreased the most significantly. Okay. And for the body paragraphs, just write 3 bodies for 3 kind of metal. So body 1 is nickel. Let's say nickel first. And then copper. And lastly is zinc. The reason why I put nickel first is that nickel started the highest here, but then it was surpassed by copper and also zinc. So by writing nickel first, later I can say something like copper increased and surpassed nickel, right? And then we can also say that zinc begin the lowest and then overtake the first position here. Okay. Right. So this order is perfect. Let's write this first. Overall. Of most metals decreased except for zinc, which increased. And then okay, include the first point and the last point, and then we have a low here. I think I'm gonna describe about this particular period. January recorded a growth rate 6% for this metal. After which it plummet to -3% to a low of -3% by June, before recovering to minus 1% in the following month. Subsequently, the figure remained unchanged for 2 months, then finished at 1% by December. Okay, about copper. Copper beginning point, finishing point, and this is copper. Was let's talk about this low. This one. I'm gonna say that 6% is the highest here, which is the highest result. Then decline gradually to approximately minus 0.5% in May. After plateauing, plateau means remain constant at 1% from June to September. It surpassed nickel to reach roughly 1.5% in December or in the end. Okay, so zinc. This is zinc. Let's talk about this peak and then a period here and then here. Okay. Which began the lowest at 1%. Then triple by February. I am. After this, it dropped significantly to -1% by June. Oh, I see, I made a mistake here. This is not June, but oh yeah, June. It's true. -1% by May. Yeah, okay. It's good. By June and re- remained fairly stable for 1, 2, 3, 4 months. Finally, or lastly, it ascended remarkably and took and reached and remarkably to 2%, overtaking the first position. That's it. What do you want me to say? Now I'm gonna do one more. Let's do this one. Okay. Again, introduction, overview, and body paragraphs. Now, let's paraphrase the question first. So the illustration is another word for diagrams. For diagrams, let's use the word demonstrate because it means that show something and show how it works step by step. So this word is a very useful word for process question. Okay, so this is design. It show construction, use, and closure. So I'm going to say that the building and use of, oh my god, use of a contemporary household waste burial system. Burial system is like a landfill. Okay. Yes, construction. We can use construction, but the word construction is here in the picture. So if you use the word construction, you're not paraphrasing, you just copy and paste the word from the picture into your introduction, right? Construction is actually a better word for than building, but building here is actually paraphrasing. And if you use construction, you're just copying the picture, right? So let's use building for this one. And we use construction in the body paragraphs or the overview. Okay, so the overview here, for the overview, let's introduce the phases of the process. So we have three main stages: construction, use, and closure. Firstly is the construction, and then the use. When using, you put the trash into the hole, into the landfill. So filling trash and then close it. So I'm going to group the first two stages into body 1, and then body 2 is for stage 3. Okay, let's write our overview first. The process consists of 3 main stages, beginning with the construction of the site, followed by the filling of trash, and ending with sealing the landfill, which is another word for closing. But you have to have topic sentences for each body paragraph so that when the readers or the examiner begin to read your paragraph, they know what data you're covering in this particular paragraph. So the first one is for stage 1 and 2. I'm going to write regarding, or the first stage 1 is a bit long, so I think I'm gonna put stage 1 into body 1 and then stage 2 and 3 into body 2. Okay, so the first primary stage instructs the establishment of the landfill, and then body 2 recording the remaining stages. Always write your topic sentence first before you write the actual paragraph so that you don't forget later. Okay, so firstly, we dig a hole onto natural rock. Initially, a hole, another word for dig is excavated in a natural rock surface. And we have a very small hole at the bottom with another smaller hole dug deeper at the bottom. Okay, and then we put clay and synthetic material on the hole. Okay, so following this, 2 layers of clay and a synthetic material are laid on the surface of the hole. And please also specify that the synthetic here is on the top of the clay. So with the ladder is this one. on top of the former, right? And lastly, we put the pipes inside the hole and covering the smaller hole, which makes it a drainage tank. So subsequently, pipes, numerous pipes are placed at the bottom, covering the smaller hole, making it a drainage tank. Okay, so that's our first body paragraph. Move on to the next one. From stage 2, we put the trash into the landfill by trucks. So household waste is transferred by trucks or lorries and dumped into the landfill. Okay, so during this process, the pipes filter waste liquid into the drainage tank. And then when it's full, after the landfill is full, we have a pipe, place a pipe, L-shaped pipe, one end inside the hole and one end above the ground, so we can extract the gas. So an L-shaped pipe is positioned with one end underground and the other on the ground for gas emission, right? So lastly, the landfill is covered by a clay surface. And that's it. What's pom pom B? I don't see anything. Okay, so I think this should be the end of my live stream today. Let's see each other tomorrow for test 2, okay? I'm gonna put the link on this document into my live stream description if you want to find, and let's go to my live stream playlist and see for this one. Okay, thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.